Most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because their brains have never been trained to do anything hard. That's the truth no one likes to admit. Your brain is designed for survival, not success. It wants comfort. It wants familiarity. It wants the path with the least resistance, even if that path slowly destroys your potential. And every time you obey that instinct, the wiring grows stronger. Avoidance becomes automatic. Comfort becomes normal, and the life you're capable of slips further and further away. But here's the shift that changes everything. Your brain is not a fixed machine. It is trainable, adaptable, reprogrammable. It becomes what you repeatedly force it to do, especially the things it resists. Doing hard things is not about willpower. It's not about motivation. It's not about waking up one day magically disciplined or fearless. Doing hard things is a skill, a trainable skill, a skill any person can learn, strengthen, and master. If you can train your brain to stop running from difficulty, if you can train it to face discomfort instead of escape it, if you can train it to act before fear takes over, everything in your life changes. Your confidence changes. Your discipline changes. Your future changes. The people you admire are not superhuman. They're simply better trained. Their brains have learned to stay calm under pressure, to begin before they feel ready, to push when the average person pulls back. They don't wait for the right mood. They move because the standard says so. That's the difference between someone who grows and someone who stays stuck. In the next 12 chapters, you will learn how to build that kind of mind. A mind that does not negotiate with fear. A mind that does not collapse under discomfort. A mind that does not require motivation to begin or emotion to maintain momentum. You will learn how to reset your brain's default wiring, how to break the loop of automatic avoidance, how to build micro-courage in the first 10 seconds, how to focus under discomfort instead of only focusing when things feel good, how to start before you're ready, how to win the first 2 minutes of any difficult task, how to expand your tolerance for discomfort, how to neutralize emotional resistance, how to build an identity strong enough to hold any challenge, how to design an environment that pushes you forward instead of pulling you down, how to develop mental endurance for long, demanding goals, and finally, how to execute without emotion, how to act purely from standards, not from feelings. This is not motivation. This is training. This is rewiring. This is a manual for teaching your brain to do the things it has avoided for years. By the end of this audiobook, you will understand something powerful. Your mind is not the enemy. It's a tool you've never been taught to use properly. But once you learn to control it, challenge becomes opportunity. Discomfort becomes growth. Fear becomes fuel. And hard becomes who you are. Not what you avoid. You don't need to be tougher. You don't need to be braver. You need to be trained. Trained to do the things that scare you. Trained to move when your feelings say stop. Trained to choose the path that builds you, not the path that weakens you. This is where that training begins. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Right now, because the life you want is always hiding behind the thing you're avoiding. Take a breath, stand tall, and let's start rewiring your brain. Let's train it to do what most people run from. Let's build the mind that builds your future. Chapter 1. Reset your brain's default. Wiring. Your brain isn't built for greatness. It's built for survival, and survival prefers the familiar, the easy, the predictable. That is why doing hard things feels unnatural, not because you're weak, but because your brain has been running the same script for years. A script that avoids pressure. A script that resists change. A script that says, stay where it's safe. Most people never question that script. They obey it. They assume their resistance is a sign that something is wrong with them. But the truth is far simpler. You're not fighting your limits. You're fighting your default wiring. This wiring is formed from repetition. Every time you avoid discomfort, the brain learns. Good. Do that again. Every time you quit early, it learns. Perfect. Stopping keeps us safe. And every time you choose the easy option, the neural pathways that favor avoidance grow stronger. Not because you intended it, but because your brain rewards what you repeat. So the first step in training your mind to do hard things is brutally simple. Interrupt the script. Stop letting your default wiring make decisions meant for your future. Imagine a GPS that always sends you down the old road, the slow road, the road full of potholes, simply because it's the one you've taken most often. That's your brain. It does not choose the best path. It chooses the familiar path. Resetting this wiring begins with awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. And most resistance happens before the moment of action, long before you lift a weight, start a task, or face a challenge. It begins the moment your brain whispers, later. Not today. Start tomorrow when you feel better. That whisper is the script. That whisper is the enemy. That whisper is the moment that determines everything. So here is the training. When you notice that whisper, act within 10 seconds. Stand up. Open the computer. Begin the task. Do the rep. Start the uncomfortable conversation. Interrupt the pattern before avoidance locks in. Your brain cannot hold two commands at once. Avoid and act. The one you choose first becomes the one your mind strengthens. This is not about being fearless. It's about being decisive. It's about teaching your brain that difficulty is not danger. It's challenge. It's training. It's the resistance that builds the mental muscle you've been missing. Resetting your wiring also requires identifying your personal triggers, the exact moments where your brain defaults to escape mode. For some people, it's the sight of a long task. For others, it's the fear of not being perfect. For many, it's the discomfort of starting with no momentum. Whatever your trigger is, name it. Because once you name it, you take its power. And once you take its power, you can replace the old response with a new one. One action, one interruption, one micro moment of choice. Repeated daily, this is how a brain rewires itself. Think of someone who transforms their life in a year. It looks like a miracle from the outside, but on the inside, something else happened. They stopped obeying the old script. They created a new one, a script where hard things are normal, expected, non-negotiable. Reset your wiring, and your identity begins to shift. Reset your wiring, and your capacity expands. Reset your wiring, and the impossible becomes routine. So ask yourself, what is the one thing your brain always avoids first? What is the challenge you postpone until discomfort grows into fear? What is the pattern that has shaped the limits of your life? Then decide, right now, that the script ends here. Because doing hard things does not begin with strength. It begins with interruption, with awareness, with the courage to override the instinct that has held you still for years. Reset the system, rewrite the pattern. Teach your brain the new rule. Hard is the path, hard is the signal, hard is the way forward. And when your brain pushes back, as it will, remember this: resistance is not a stop sign. It is the first sign that you are finally moving in the right direction. Reset the wiring. Reclaim your mind. Begin again. Chapter 2. Break the loop of automatic avoidance. Avoidance doesn't start with a decision. It starts with a reflex. Before you even realize what's happening, your brain has already pushed you away from the hard thing in front of you. You don't choose to avoid. Your wiring chooses for you. This is why you can plan a big goal at night and wake up the next morning doing something entirely different. The intention was real, but the reflex was stronger, and until you break that reflex, no amount of discipline, motivation, or planning will save you. Automatic avoidance is built from thousands of small moments where you backed away without noticing. The text you didn't send, the email you didn't open, the workout you didn't start, the decision you postponed, the conversation you avoided. Each tiny retreat whispers to your brain, "Good." That keeps us safe, and the loop becomes stronger. The truth is simple. Avoidance grows when you obey it. It weakens when you interrupt it. But to interrupt it, you must first recognize its forms, because avoidance rarely looks like fear. Most of the time, it disguises itself as logic, convenience, or timing. Avoidance comes in three main forms. Delay. I'll start after lunch, or after this episode, or after I clean my desk. Delay feels harmless, but it's the brain's most effective escape tactic. Not now becomes not today. Not today becomes not this week. Then the year is gone. Distraction. Checking your phone. Scrolling, tidying something meaningless. Doing work that feels productive but avoids the thing that actually matters. Distraction gives you the illusion of progress while keeping you safely away from discomfort. Negotiation. The quiet conversation you have with yourself. I'll do it later when I feel better. I don't have energy. I need more time. I'll do extra tomorrow. Negotiation is the brain's last line of defense. If it can't delay or distract you, it will try to convince you. You cannot break what you cannot see. So your training in this chapter is awareness first, action second. The moment you sense delay, the moment you reach for distraction, the moment you start negotiating. Interrupt the loop within 3 seconds. Stand up, move, begin. Do something, anything, that puts you physically closer to the hard task. Action doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be immediate. This is how you break the neurological loop. You stop obeying the old command. Imagine avoidance as a door that becomes heavier each time you walk away from it. By the end of the year, some people can barely push their doors open. They're that heavy with resistance. But every time you push back, even a little, the door gets lighter. And here's the part most people never realize. Avoidance isn't failure. Avoidance is training gone wrong, which means it can be retrained. Your brain is not trying to sabotage you. It's trying to protect you from discomfort. It simply doesn't understand yet that discomfort is growth. Discomfort is progress. Discomfort is where your future lives. So you must teach it. And the only language your brain understands is repetition. Every time you interrupt avoidance, you send a new signal. This is safe. This is normal. This is who we are now. The more you act through resistance, the weaker that resistance becomes. The more you face discomfort, the easier discomfort becomes. The more you choose the hard thing, the more natural it becomes. Soon, the reflex flips. Instead of avoiding hard things, your brain begins moving toward them. Instead of hesitating, it prepares. Instead of resisting, it adapts. That is the beginning of mental toughness. Not dramatic willpower, but quiet rewiring. So ask yourself, what is the hard thing you've avoided for months? What decision keeps circling back because you refuse to face it? What loop has trapped you in the same version of yourself year after year? You don't need courage to break the loop. You don't need motivation. You just need an interruption, one moment, one action, one break in the cycle. Because the moment you interrupt avoidance, even for 3 seconds, you prove something powerful. That you, not your fears, not your wiring, not your reflexes, are in control. Break the loop. Disarm the reflex. Show your brain what happens when you stop running. This is the chapter where your life begins to shift. Chapter 3. Build the skill of micro-courage. Most people think courage is something you're either born with or not. But that idea has held more people back than fear ever has. Courage isn't a personality trait. It's a micro-skill, a trainable response, a muscle built in seconds, not in speeches. If you look closely at the moments that shape a life, they're never grand cinematic events. They're small, quiet, almost invisible, sending the message you've been avoiding, starting the task you fear, saying what you truly mean, walking into something you're not ready for. Those moments don't require an hour of bravery. They require 10 seconds. 10 seconds to override hesitation. 10 seconds to silence the negotiation in your mind. 10 seconds to act before fear builds its case against you. That's micro-courage, the foundation of every life that grows beyond its limits. Fear is fast. It speaks immediately. It whispers excuses before you even notice they've formed. But fear is also predictable. It shows up right before the moment of action. If you move before it finishes speaking, it loses its power. Think of a swimmer stepping into cold water. Every instinct says, stop. Every cell in their body wants to retreat, but the discomfort lasts only 10 seconds. Push through those 10 seconds and the body adapts. Push through those 10 seconds consistently, and courage becomes instinct. Your brain works the same way. The first 10 seconds are your battlefield. Win those, and the rest becomes execution, not negotiation. So how do you train micro-courage? Not by waiting for dramatic opportunities, but by practicing small acts of boldness every day. Send the difficult message you've written, but never sent. Speak the truth you've been softening to protect someone's reaction. Start the uncomfortable conversation instead of waiting for the right moment. Do the task your mind keeps postponing. Begin before your brain has time to interfere. Micro-courage doesn't remove fear. It outruns it. It bypasses the emotional buildup that normally stops you. It teaches your brain a new rule. When I say go, we go. And like any skill, it grows with repetition. The first few attempts will feel shaky. Your chest might tighten. Your thoughts might scramble. Your emotions might protest. That's normal. That's the sign you're training the right muscle. Over time, something remarkable happens. You begin trusting yourself. Not because you feel fearless, but because you've proven again and again that you can act while afraid, that you can move through discomfort, that hesitation no longer owns you. Micro-courage expands your entire life. It starts with small decisions, but leads to big transformations. The career you once felt underqualified for. The goals you believed were too far out of reach. The relationships that require truth, not comfort. The identity that emerges when you stop avoiding who you're meant to become. But the most powerful part is this. Micro-courage compounds. Every time you act in the face of fear, you stack evidence. Evidence that you're capable. Evidence that you're resilient. Evidence that you don't run from responsibility. Evidence that discomfort is no longer a barrier, but a signal. A signal that the next version of you is on the other side. So here is your training. Choose one act of micro-courage every day. Start with something small, something your brain has been dodging. Act within 10 seconds of recognizing resistance. Don't wait for clarity. Don't wait for confidence. Don't wait for the perfect mood. Move. Even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble, even if every part of you wants to delay, because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is movement in spite of it. Courage is the moment you choose action over hesitation. Courage is 10 seconds of truth that can change the direction of your life. So ask yourself, what have I avoided that requires only 10 seconds of bravery? What decision would future me thank me for making today? What small act can I choose right now that breaks the pattern of fear? Micro-courage is simple, it's immediate, and it's powerful. Win those 10 seconds, and you win back your life. Don't wait to feel brave. Act, and bravery will follow. Chapter 4. Strengthen your focus under discomfort. Everyone can focus when conditions are perfect, when the room is quiet, the body is relaxed, the mind is clear, and motivation is high. Focus is easy, but life is rarely perfect, and the tasks that shape your future rarely feel comfortable when you begin them. If your ability to focus collapses the moment discomfort appears, then your progress will always be fragile. You'll only work when you feel like it. You'll only push when conditions are ideal. You'll only stay consistent when nothing challenges you. That is not strength, that is dependency. Real focus isn't built in comfort. Real focus is built in discomfort. When your mind is noisy, your body is tired, your emotions distract you, and your environment isn't cooperating. The stronger version of you is forged not in ease, but in resistance. The reason discomfort breaks your focus is simple. Your brain interprets pressure as danger. Not physical danger, but cognitive overload. It tries to escape, it tries to shift attention, it tries to conserve energy, it tries to convince you that now is not the time. This is why you suddenly feel the urge to scroll, snack, clean, check messages, or wander. It's not laziness, it's not lack of discipline, it's your brain attempting to relieve tension. But tension is not your enemy. Tension is the training ground. To strengthen your focus under discomfort, you must teach your brain one truth. This pressure will not break me. It will build me. And you teach it through presence, by sitting deeper into the moment instead of running away from it. Start with 15 minutes. Not 15 minutes of perfect focus, 15 minutes of committed presence, no matter what arises. Noise? Stay. Restlessness? Stay. Self-doubt? Stay. A wandering mind. Notice it, then gently return. Your job is not to eliminate discomfort. Your job is to operate inside it. Over time, your brain adapts. The discomfort that once scattered your attention becomes the exact stimulus that sharpens it. Your mind stops panicking, your body stops resisting. Your focus becomes less of a fragile state and more of a durable skill. This shift is powerful because it frees you from emotional dependence. You no longer need the right mood, the right environment, the right timing. You stop waiting for external alignment and start relying on internal command. The discipline to focus when it's hard opens doors most people never reach. Because while others quit when they're tired, you continue. While others slow down when it stops being fun, you accelerate. While others lose concentration under pressure, you rise inside it. Here's the practical training. Adjust your posture. A straight spine tells your brain you're safe and capable. Your body influences your focus more than you realize. Control your breathing. Use the 4-4-4 method. Inhale 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds. This stabilizes your internal state even when your mind is scattered. Eliminate switching. Multitasking is the silent killer of deep focus. When you divide attention, you weaken the neural circuits that sustain uninterrupted concentration. Expect discomfort. Don't be surprised when focus feels difficult. Anticipate the resistance. Welcome it as part of the process. Stay until the moment breaks. Discomfort has a curve. It spikes early, then diminishes. If you stay long enough, your mind stabilizes and clarity returns. Your goal is not to avoid the storm. Your goal is to become the person who can work inside it. Ask yourself, why do I lose focus the moment things get uncomfortable? What feeling am I trying to avoid? And what would my life look like if I stopped retreating every time my mind resisted? Because the truth is this: greatness is built by people who learn to concentrate when their minds told them to escape. People who stayed when others left. People who pushed through the fog instead of waiting for it to clear. Strengthen your focus under discomfort and you unlock a level of performance most people never touch. Not because you're more talented, but because you're more trained. Hold the moment, hold the tension, hold the focus when it counts. That is how you build a mind capable of doing hard things. Chapter 5. Train your brain to start before you feel ready. Most people never begin the things that could change their lives, not because they're incapable, but because they are waiting for a feeling that may never come, waiting to feel ready. waiting to feel confident, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, or the perfect plan. But readiness is an illusion. Confidence is an outcome, not a starting point, and perfection is the safest excuse your brain knows how to create. Your mind loves preparation because preparation feels productive while protecting you from risk. It lets you imagine progress without facing the discomfort of actual progress. It gives you the emotional reward of getting organized without the vulnerability of stepping into the unknown. But here's the truth. You don't start because you feel ready. You feel ready because you start. Momentum generates clarity. Action generates confidence. Movement generates readiness, not the other way around. Every difficult task carries a psychological activation threshold, a barrier of resistance that feels strongest right before you begin. The longer you wait, the bigger the barrier grows. The more you hesitate, the heavier the first step becomes. The more you negotiate, the more intimidating the task appears. So if you want to train your brain to do hard things, you must build the skill of starting before you feel ready, starting when you're uncertain, uninspired, uncomfortable, or unprepared. Because real growth demands imperfect beginnings. Think about every major transformation in life: starting a business, getting in shape, changing careers, learning a skill, having a difficult conversation. None of these come with a moment where everything aligns and the fear disappears. You begin amid uncertainty, and clarity emerges through motion. Starting before you feel ready means rejecting the brain's favorite escape routes. I need a better plan. No point starting until I know more. I'll begin when things calm down. I'll wait for motivation. These aren't reasons. They're stall tactics, disguised avoidance. The brain's attempt to keep you safe from the emotional risk of starting small, starting ugly, starting vulnerable. The solution is simple, but powerful. Shrink the beginning. Don't start the project. Start the first 2 minutes of the project. Don't start the workout. Put on the shoes and begin the warm-up. Don't start a new life strategy. Do the smallest action that proves the new identity you want to build. The smaller the starting point, the faster you override resistance. Your brain is not scared of the whole journey. It's scared of the first step. So you train it by making that first step too small to fear. Here is your training. Start ugly. Let things be messy. Let them be unfinished. Let them be imperfect. Perfectionism is the enemy of action. Start small. If you can't do 30 minutes, do 5. If you can't finish the task, just begin it. Small starts break big resistance. Start now, not later, not soon, not when things settle. Now. Because action taken in the imperfect moment builds a stronger mind than action taken in the perfect one. Over time, something shifts. You stop waiting for confidence. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop waiting for the ideal conditions your brain keeps promising but never delivers. You begin because it's who you are. You begin because your standards demand it. You begin because you've trained your mind to treat hesitation as a signal, not to stop, but to move. Ask yourself, how many ideas have I buried because I waited to feel ready? How much time have I lost preparing instead of starting? How different would my life look if I took the smallest possible step the moment resistance appeared? Starting before you feel ready is not reckless. It's responsible. It's powerful. It's the habit that separates the person who dreams from the person who builds. Your brain doesn't need comfort. It needs proof. Proof that you are someone who acts without permission from your emotions. So stop waiting. Stand up. Begin the imperfect first move. Because readiness isn't something you wait for. Readiness is something you create. Start now. Start small. Start imperfect. But start. Chapter 6. Win the first 2 minutes. Every hard task you will ever face has a single brutal truth behind it. The hardest part is never the middle. It's the beginning. The first 2 minutes are where most people lose the battle. Not because they're incapable, not because the task is overwhelming, but because the brain launches its strongest resistance the moment you prepare to start. Your mind has one job: protect your energy. And nothing drains energy faster than switching from rest to effort. So the brain panics, it protests, it floods you with excuses, urges, distractions, and emotional noise, anything to stop you from crossing the threshold into action. This is why you suddenly feel tired right before a workout, why you feel busy the moment you sit down to work, why your mind generates 100 reasons to postpone something that takes less than 10 minutes to complete. But here's the powerful part. Resistance is front-loaded. It spikes early, and then it drops. If you break through the first 2 minutes, your brain gives up the fight. Momentum takes over. The task becomes survivable, doable, even enjoyable. That is why mastering the first 2 minutes is one of the most important mental skills you will ever develop. Think of it like pushing a heavy train. The hardest force is required at the start. Once it moves even an inch, everything gets easier. Your mind operates the same way. So the training is simple. Don't win the whole task, just win the beginning. You don't need to finish the workout. Just start the first 2 minutes. You don't need to write a chapter. Just write for 2 minutes. You don't need to clean the whole room. Just clean for 2 minutes. You don't need to tackle the entire goal. Just cross the friction barrier that prevents you from beginning. This 2-minute principle rewires the brain because it transforms action from something intimidating into something manageable. It removes the emotional weight. It interrupts the negotiation. It silences the loop of avoidance. Most people fail because they don't understand this psychological curve. They think the discomfort they feel at minute 1 will last for all 30 minutes. But the curve doesn't work that way. Discomfort peaks early, then declines rapidly once you move. The fastest way to make a task easier is simply to begin it. Here's your training for mastering the first 2 minutes. Reduce the entry friction. Bring the task as close as possible to action. Laid out workout clothes. Open the laptop. Prepared workspace. When the barrier is low, beginning feels natural. Use a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move before your mind has time to argue. A countdown interrupts the negotiation and forces immediate commitment. Disable distractions for 2 minutes only. Turn off notifications, close tabs, step away from your phone. Just for the start. You're not committing to a long session, only 2 minutes of purity. Let the momentum carry you. When 2 minutes finish, choose, stop or continue. Most people continue because the hardest part is already behind them. The real power is that the mind begins expecting success instead of resisting it. The association shifts from starting feels heavy to starting feels familiar. And once something is familiar, the brain stops treating it like danger. This is how you break the pattern of procrastination. This is how you build self-respect. This is how you retrain your brain to act fast, act early, act consistently. Ask yourself, how many things in my life would already be done if I just mastered the first 2 minutes? How many goals have I postponed simply because I couldn't break through the opening resistance? How different would my results be if the beginning stopped intimidating me? Winning the first 2 minutes doesn't make you a different person. It reveals the person you've always had the potential to be. Someone who acts quickly, someone who executes, someone who doesn't wait for motivation or permission, someone who can cross the threshold into difficult things while everyone else freezes. So don't worry about the entire task. Don't worry about how long it will take. Don't worry about the end. Win the beginning. Win the first breath of resistance. Win the 2 minutes that decide everything. Because once you start, you're no longer fighting your mind. You're leading it. And a mind that follows your lead can take you anywhere. Start the 2 minutes. Let the rest follow. Chapter 7. Build friction tolerance. Most people don't quit because the task is too hard. They quit because the friction, the small discomforts, the tiny annoyances, the emotional drag feels unbearable. Not the heavy pain, not the exhaustion, just the minor, persistent resistance that wears them down. Your brain is wired to avoid friction. It interprets discomfort as a threat to your safety, your energy, or your emotional stability. So it nudges you toward the smoother path, an easier task, a distraction, a familiar routine. Slowly, unknowingly, you become someone who only operates inside comfort. But a life built on comfort is a life built on limits. Friction tolerance, the ability to stay steady during discomfort, is the foundation of mental toughness. It's not dramatic. It's not glamorous. It's the quiet strength to keep moving when everything inside you wants relief. Every meaningful pursuit, fitness, mastery, discipline, relationships, business, demands friction. You cannot grow without it. You cannot evolve without it. You cannot become someone stronger while avoiding the very forces that would forge that strength. So the goal is not to eliminate friction. The goal is to increase your tolerance for it. Think about how muscles grow. They grow not because you avoid stress, but because you apply controlled stress. They tear, repair, and rebuild stronger. Your mind is the same. Friction is the training stimulus. If you avoid it, you weaken. If you face it, you strengthen. And like any form of strength, friction tolerance is built through exposure, repetition, and intentional discomfort. Here's the truth. Your current limits are not physical. They are psychological. They are thresholds your brain decided were too much, long before your body or intelligence reached their actual capacity. Breaking those thresholds begins with small doses of discomfort, not suffering, not overwhelm, just controlled friction. Here's your training. Do one uncomfortable thing every day. Take a cold shower. Start earlier than you want. Finish the last rep. Make the call. Have the difficult conversation. Train your brain to stop flinching at discomfort. Delay comfort by 2 minutes. When you feel the urge to escape a task, pause. Stay in the moment. Teach your nervous system that discomfort is survivable. Finish the rep, not the feeling. Your brain will ask for relief before your body actually needs it. Ignore the emotional signal. Follow the standard. Choose the harder version occasionally. Take the stairs. Walk when you'd normally drive. Do the work even when you're tired. Not because it's required, but because it builds the identity of someone who does what others avoid. Each exposure is a message to your brain. This is not dangerous. This is not beyond me. This is who I am becoming. Over time, something powerful shifts. Discomfort stops feeling like a threat. It becomes familiar, predictable, manageable. Your mind adapts the way your muscles do. It expands under pressure. You begin to notice that the things that once intimidated you no longer hold the same weight. Tasks you used to avoid now feel straightforward. Goals that seemed out of reach suddenly feel possible. You stop being controlled by the instinct to retreat. And that's when you become dangerous, because nothing stops a person who has learned to stay present in discomfort. Not boredom, not inconvenience, not frustration, not the emotional friction that derails everyone else. Ask yourself, what small discomfort have I been avoiding that is shrinking my potential? Where have I been choosing ease over growth? What identity am I reinforcing when I retreat at the first sign of friction? Because greatness doesn't require extraordinary talent. It requires extraordinary tolerance. The tolerance to keep pushing when your mind demands comfort. The tolerance to stay in the work long enough for results to compound. The tolerance to let discomfort shape you instead of scare you. Build friction tolerance, and you build the backbone of mental toughness. You build the ability to do hard things consistently. You build the resilience that separates achievers from quitters. Friction is not your enemy. It is the weight that strengthens your mind. Lift it daily. Chapter 8. Remove emotional resistance. Most hard things aren't physically hard. They're emotionally hard. You're not avoiding the workout. You're avoiding the feeling of inadequacy. You're not avoiding the project. You're avoiding the fear of failing publicly. You're not avoiding the conversation. You're avoiding the discomfort of honesty. You're not avoiding the opportunity. You're avoiding the possibility of being judged. The barrier isn't the task. The barrier is the emotion attached to the task. Emotional resistance is subtle, powerful, and familiar. It whispers, "Not now." It convinces you that you're tired. It makes the simplest task feel heavy, and it turns completely manageable steps into overwhelming mountains. If you don't understand emotional resistance, you'll mistake it for laziness, burnout, or lack of discipline. But the truth is simpler. Your brain is trying to protect you from emotional discomfort, uncertainty, embarrassment, vulnerability, rejection. To train your brain to do hard things, you must learn to separate the task from the emotion. Because emotions feel true, but they are not instructions. They are signals, not commands. Information, not identity. And once you understand that, everything changes. Emotional resistance hits hardest right before action. It spikes when you think about starting the thing that matters. Your heart tightens. Your mind becomes cloudy. You suddenly want a break, a snack, a distraction, anything to avoid confronting the feeling. This is not weakness, it's survival. Your brain is wired to avoid emotional pain even more aggressively than physical discomfort. So here's the key. You must name the emotion before it can control you. Am I scared? Am I insecure? Am I overwhelmed? Am I unprepared? Am I afraid of judgment? Am I worried I'm not good enough? The moment you name the emotion, the intensity drops. Labeling breaks the emotional illusion. It shifts the brain from reaction to regulation. This is fear, not danger. This is doubt, not reality. This is discomfort, not incapacity. Naming creates space. Space creates clarity. Clarity creates control. Next, reduce the emotion's power by shrinking the task. Emotion magnifies difficulty. Action shrinks emotion. When the task feels emotionally heavy, don't aim to finish it. Aim to touch it. Open the document, write one sentence, do one rep, have the first 20 seconds of the conversation. Make the smallest possible movement toward the thing you fear. Emotion resists completion, but it cannot resist initiation. Once you begin, resistance drops. Your nervous system stabilizes. Your thoughts become cleaner. Your confidence rises, even if only by 1%. And 1% is enough to keep going. Another powerful method is decoupling emotion from identity. Just because you feel scared doesn't mean you're a scared person. Just because you feel insecure doesn't mean you lack ability. Just because you feel resistance doesn't mean the work is wrong. Emotions are weather, they pass. Identity is climate. It changes slowly with action. You don't need to eliminate emotional resistance. You only need to stop treating it as truth. Then comes the final step. Replace emotional permission with personal standard. I don't act when I feel good. I act because this is who I am. High performers don't wait for emotional alignment. They execute through discomfort. They understand that feelings are unreliable, unstable, and constantly changing. If you build your life around them, your consistency will collapse the moment your emotions shift. But if you build your life around standards, non-negotiable actions, your brain begins to follow your identity, not your feelings. Ask yourself, what emotion is keeping me from the life I want? What hard thing am I avoiding because of a feeling that will disappear the moment I begin? How would my future change if I stopped letting emotions make decisions for me? Because on the other side of emotional resistance is freedom. Freedom from hesitation, freedom from fear-driven avoidance, freedom from the identity that was built on safety instead of strength. Removing emotional resistance doesn't mean removing emotion. It means refusing to surrender to it. It means acting through the storm rather than waiting for the skies to clear. Do the thing you fear while fear is still present. Take the step even if your hands shake. Start the task even when your emotions scream for comfort. Because emotions don't define your limits, your actions do. Name the emotion, shrink the task, honor the standard. Move anyway. Chapter 9. Strengthen your identity. Through hard things, there is a point in every transformation where effort is no longer enough. If you want lasting change, real, permanent change, you must shift your identity because you will never outperform the person you believe you are. You can force discipline for a week. You can grind for a month. You can push through motivation for a season. But eventually, you will always drift back to the level of your identity. The question is not, can I do this? The question is this who I am? Identity drives behavior. Behavior reinforces identity. The loop can trap you or free you depending on which version of yourself you feed. Most people fail because they rely on effort but never update the story they tell themselves. If you still believe you're inconsistent, you will sabotage your consistency. If you still believe you're undisciplined, you will behave like someone who can't stay committed. If you still believe you're the kind of person who avoids hard things, you will continue to avoid them, no matter how hard you try to change. Identity is the hidden ceiling above your life. But here's the truth. Identity is not fixed. Identity is built. Brick by brick. Choice by choice. Hard thing by hard thing. Every uncomfortable action is evidence. Every act of courage is proof. Every moment of discipline is a vote for the person you want to become. You don't change your life by imagining a new identity. You change your life by earning it. Think of two voices living inside you. One reflects your past, the version of you that avoided difficulty, feared judgment, and stayed comfortable. The other reflects your potential, the version that moves through discomfort, chooses standards over emotions, and does the things most people run from. Whichever voice you act on becomes the identity that grows. Whichever identity grows becomes the one your brain defaults to. So how do you strengthen the identity that does hard things? First, write it clearly. Not vague, not poetic. Direct, simple, unmistakable. I am someone who does hard things. I finish what I start. I don't negotiate with fear. I act on standards, not emotions. Identity must be stated before it can be lived. Then, gather evidence, small, undeniable proof that the identity is real. When you finish a workout you didn't want to do, proof. When you start a task while uncomfortable, proof. When you stay focused through distraction, proof. When you choose truth over convenience, proof. When you take the harder path instead of the easier one, proof. Proof builds belief. Belief builds identity. Identity builds the future. But here's the mistake many people make. They look for big evidence, major wins, perfect days, flawless discipline. Identity is not built by dramatic moments. It's built by consistency. Small actions repeated so often that your brain can no longer deny who you are becoming. If you want to shift your identity, track your proof. Write down 3 small wins each day that reflect the stronger version of you. It doesn't matter how small they seem. Small wins compound, small wins accumulate, small wins rewrite the story. And soon, the shift happens. Instead of saying, "I hope I can do this," you begin saying, "This is what I do." Instead of questioning your ability, you execute automatically. Instead of seeing hard things as obstacles, you see them as opportunities to reinforce your identity. Your brain loves consistency. When your actions align with a clear identity, your mind stops resisting. It cooperates, it adapts, it follows. This is why doing hard things becomes easier, not because the difficulty disappears, but because the person facing the difficulty becomes stronger. Ask yourself, what identity have my actions been reinforcing? What identity do I want my life to be shaped by? And what is one small action today that proves I am becoming that person? Identity is not who you say you are. Identity is what you repeatedly prove. Do the hard thing. Earn the evidence. Reinforce the identity. Become the person who doesn't back down when life demands more. Because once your identity aligns with strength, discipline, and courage, hard things stop feeling like battles. They become a reflection of who you are. Strengthen your identity, and you strengthen your entire life. Chapter 10. Engineer an environment that forces growth. Discipline is unreliable. Motivation is unstable. Willpower fades the moment life becomes inconvenient. If you rely on emotion to carry you through hard things, you will fail the moment your feelings shift. Not because you're weak, but because your environment is stronger than your intentions. Most people never realize this. Your surroundings shape your behavior far more than your thoughts do. The world around you pulls you in a direction long before you consciously choose one. Your environment is constantly nudging you, either toward growth or toward comfort. And unless you engineer it deliberately, it will default to the path of least resistance. If your environment makes the easy thing accessible, you will do the easy thing. If it makes the hard thing obvious, you will do the hard thing. The difference between people who evolve and people who stay stuck rarely comes down to talent or desire. It comes down to the environment they have built, tolerated, or ignored. So the real question is this: is your environment forcing you to grow, or is it silently weakening you? Environment is not just physical, it's emotional, digital, social, and structural. It's the sum of everything that surrounds you, everything you see, hear, reach for, and respond to. To train your brain to do hard things consistently, you must design an environment that makes growth automatic and comfort inconvenient. Let's break this down. Physical environment. What you see shapes what you do. Your brain seeks the path of least resistance. So if your workspace is cluttered with distractions, your mind will latch on to them. If your home is filled with comfort traps, sofas, screens, snacks, your energy will drift toward rest, not action. Small physical cues trigger massive behavioral responses. A visible book gets read, a hidden phone gets ignored. A prepared desk invites focus, a messy room invites avoidance. Start small and clear your desk before bed so your morning begins with clarity, not chaos. Lay out your workout clothes where you cannot ignore them. Place your goals somewhere you must look at them every day. Remove the items that enable mindless escape. Make the hard thing the first thing you see. Make the easy thing invisible. Digital environment, the invisible enemy of focus. Most people underestimate how destructive their digital environment has become. Your phone is not just a tool. It is a portal to endless friction disguised as pleasure. Every notification fractures your attention. Every app competes for your dopamine. Every algorithm is designed to keep you comfortably stuck. If your digital world is chaotic, your mental world cannot be calm. You don't need more discipline. You need fewer digital hooks. Try this. Disable all non-essential notifications. Move distracting apps off your home screen. Charge your phone outside your bedroom. Use Do Not Disturb during work blocks. Create a separate device or profile strictly for deep work. When distraction becomes inconvenient, focus becomes natural. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your digital environment. Social environment, the people around you. Rewire. Nothing rewires the brain faster than the people you spend time with. Humans mimic behaviors unconsciously. Tone, habits, standards, ambition, even the courage to do hard things. Your brain adapts to the emotional atmosphere around you. If people around you avoid responsibility, you will too. If they make excuses, you will echo them. If they seek comfort, you will shrink with them. But if you surround yourself with people who stretch themselves, who choose discomfort, pursue excellence, and embrace difficulty, your brain begins to normalize the very behaviors you once feared. You don't need to cut everyone out of your life. You just need to shift the weight of your influences. Spend more time with people who elevate you, less time with people who drain you, and no time with people who celebrate your weakness. Your identity follows your environment. Choose it wisely. Emotional environment. Protect the space inside you. Even if the external world is chaotic, you can engineer the emotional world within. Your inner environment, your thoughts, rituals, routines, decides how you respond to difficulty. Build emotional anchors, a breathing pattern that stabilizes your nervous system. A morning ritual that demands presence, a nightly reflection that reinforces identity, a mantra that cuts through self-doubt. These anchors protect your internal state so the external world cannot sabotage it. Your emotional environment should make you resilient, not reactive. Calm, not chaotic. Centered, not scattered. When your inner world is engineered properly, hard things lose their ability to intimidate you. Structural environment. Systems replace willpower. Your environment must include structures, clear rules, routines, and constraints that make action automatic. Structure removes negotiation. It eliminates decision fatigue. It tells your brain, this is what we do, regardless of how we feel. Examples. Work out at the same time every day. Plan your top 3 tasks the night before. Use time blocks instead of when I get to it. Set standards, not options. When you build structure, your brain stops arguing. It simply follows the system. Freedom doesn't come from avoiding structure. Freedom comes from building a structure that supports your highest self. Make growth easier and make comfort harder. The secret to engineering your environment is simple. Make the actions that align with your future effortless to begin. Make the actions that shrink your potential inconvenient to access. Not impossible, just inconvenient. If snacks are hidden, you'll think twice. If your phone is across the room, you'll hesitate. If your workout clothes are waiting, you'll start sooner. If your environment makes you face your goals, you'll stop running from them. Your brain follows the path you lay out for it. Design the path. Shape your surroundings. Force the future you want. The shift. From trying to becoming. When your environment is engineered correctly, you stop trying to be disciplined. You simply become disciplined. You stop forcing focus. You begin living in focus. You stop fighting distractions. You minimize their existence. You stop battling yourself. You build a world where the strongest version of you becomes the default. Ask yourself, does my environment support the person I'm trying to become? Or does it reinforce the person I'm trying to outgrow? What friction do I need to remove? What comfort do I need to make it inconvenient? What surroundings would the stronger version of me create? Because here's the truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You rise to the level of the environment you build. Engineer your environment, and you automate your growth. Engineer your environment, and you eliminate excuses. Engineer your environment, and you force your brain to evolve. Most people try to change their lives while living in spaces designed to keep them the same. But not you. Not anymore. Design the world that shapes your future. Build the environment that strengthens your identity. Create an atmosphere where doing hard things becomes natural. Engineer your environment. and watch your entire life rise to meet the standard you set. You've reached the end of this journey, but the real journey, the internal one, the one that rewires your identity, begins the moment this audiobook stops playing. You've learned how your brain resists discomfort. You've learned why you avoid the things you know you need to do. You've learned how hesitation grows stronger when you obey it, and how courage grows stronger when you practice it. You've learned to enter discomfort instead of escaping it. You've learned to separate your feelings from your standards, your emotions from your identity, and your fears from your future. But knowledge alone doesn't change a life. Repetition does. Evidence does. Identity does. And now, it's time to live what you've learned. The mind you want will not appear in a moment of inspiration. It will not be given to you by motivation or luck or timing. It will be forged the same way every strong mind is forged, through friction, through presence, through initiation, through the discipline to take the smallest action when your brain screams for comfort. Think about who you were before you began this audiobook. A version of you who hesitated, a version of you who negotiated, a version of you who avoided, postponed, softened your standards, or shrank yourself to stay emotionally safe. That version wasn't wrong. It was untrained. It was shaped by years of survival patterns, automatic reflexes, and protective wiring. It was a mind built to keep you unchanged, not because you lacked ambition, but because your brain feared the cost of growth. But look at who you are now. Look at what you understand about yourself. Look at the tools you carry, the strategies, the clarity, the identity, the ability to act through resistance. You are no longer the person hoping to change. You are the person learning to command the change. And a mind under your command is the most powerful tool you will ever own. Because now you know the truth. Hard things don't break you. They build you. Discomfort doesn't threaten you. It transforms you. Fear doesn't shrink your life. It reveals where your next level waits. Everything you want, strength, confidence, discipline, clarity, self-respect, lives on the other side of the hard things you've spent years avoiding. And you now can reach them. But this ability must be practiced, daily, deliberately, quietly, without applause, without the world noticing. Because transformation is not loud. Transformation is not dramatic. Transformation is the accumulation of thousands of micro-decisions no one else ever sees. It happens when you begin before you're ready. When you start the first 2 minutes. When you hold focus under discomfort. When you choose the harder path for the sake of who it makes you. When you follow your standards instead of your emotions. When you refuse to negotiate with fear. When you act, even when your feelings try to slow you down. This is how a strong mind is built. Not in one moment, but in many. Not by force, but by identity. Not by pressure, but by practice. And now it's time for practice. The 72-hour reset. For the next 3 days, choose one hard thing per day. Not something grand, not something overwhelming, something uncomfortable enough to stretch you, but small enough to complete. A conversation you've avoided, a task you've postponed, a decision you've hesitated to make, a workout you've been dreading, a responsibility you've been pushing aside. Do it.